All right, so I was gonna post a text reply on this post, but I figured I'd save a lot more time and I'd probably say a lot more if I just do a quick video on this. And the question being posed is, what if Reallusion went to a subscription-based business model? Would you stay loyal having to pay an annual fee? Guys, it's already bad enough trying to stay loyal to this product as it stands. I mean, this company has dropped the ball so badly in the last 4 or 5 years. It's ridiculous. Okay, they make these crazy ass judgment calls. Okay, they don't consult with their user base. They don't take their audience, their customers' opinions or needs into consideration. They simply do whatever the hell they want to do, and hopefully they'll continue to sell shit. Okay, I'll give you two examples of this. A couple of examples, right? Okay, right now we're still dealing with bugs that existed as far back as version 2. They just have no sense of priority to fix these things because they get this idea on their head about the latest greatest little thing. Right now it's all about the 360 heads, and they don't even focus on the stuff that may or may not work. They don't even touch it. It's not a thing anymore. Then we have little things like, well, not so little, but then we have things like the facial mocap system. That's something that we had in version 3. You can hook up a iPhone to your system. Yeah, a lot of people complain to it because you have to pay another $1,000 for the iPhone in order to have that feature. But you know what? It doesn't matter. A product needs to be the best version of the product it can be at any given time. And that is the number one thing. And I'll touch on that a little bit more in a minute. But the fact that they go from version 3 to version 4 and completely remove a core functionality, a feature, a core function of the software. And then they come up with the excuse, not a lot of people were using it, so we decided to make it an optional feature. That is a stupid, stupid excuse. And it's untrue. It's a lie. Okay? I might be willing to contemplate it if it was true. But if it were true, there's still a lot of people who no longer use, G1 characters. There's a lot of people who don't use the vector stuff for their G2 characters. They could have removed any of that stuff. There's almost nobody uses morph faces anymore. They definitely could have removed that, right? So if that was true, it should have applied to all that other shit that nobody's using. The fact of the matter is, when it comes to that feature, is that they developed a system that can be plugged in and only be coded once between iClone and Crazy Talk Animator. It has the Live Link plugin with the different profiles, and they figured all they have to do is code the profile once and it'll work in iClone, it'll work in Crazy Talk. But they have the system in place over on the iClone side so that they can charge people $300 for it. But they don't want people just copying and pasting that profile over or doing some wacky shit. So they figure they can make an additional $300 on this side. That's all it is. But okay, let's get off that. Okay, that was just a couple of examples. A product needs to be the best product of itself that it can be. You look at Flash. Flash at some point had the pro version and the blah 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 director's version and whatever. I think Photoshop did that too. That's an old, antiquated way of artificially adding value to a software. It really doesn't do anything for you as a consumer. You may think that, okay, because I don't need those features, I only need this version. But all they're doing, guys, is they make a version of the product the best it can be, and they water it down for marketing purposes. Eventually, you get to a point where you do need those features and you realize you bought the wrong version, and now you have to pay a little bit more of an inflated fee to upgrade to whatever you need at that point. So from a consumer standpoint, it's always better for you to just have the best version of the product that you can get from the start. And subscription-based models will allow you to do that. For one, you're paying less. You are paying $5, $10, $12 a month, whatever, but you're getting the best version of the product you can. You are not going to get no basic version. You're not going to get no watered down version. You're going to get the best version of a product with the features that people are asking for almost in real time, okay? If there's going to be a community around this thing where people are saying, hey, this feature would be great. Oh, there's this bug that exists. And these companies can see their revenue add up in real time. If you have several thousand customers paying you X amount of money on a monthly basis, you expect that money to continue to come in. And when a couple thousand customers drop out, you start asking questions. What the hell are we doing that caused us to lose these customers? Oh, there's this bug that we had for 5 years that we haven't fixed yet, and people got fed up with it. Let's fix it. I know a lot of people here are comparing like the whole Adobe thing with Reallusion. I think it was Chris Meyer who who said something about it's understandable with Adobe because they're a big company. I don't think that has anything to do with it. If anything, it's the kind of thing that would make Reallusion into a big company. But I don't think it has anything to do with it because these softwares by itself, I mean, Photoshop was $1,500, back in the day. Flash, the cheapest version, was about $800. And the thing you gotta keep in mind is that these almost all professional, software development companies, they are on a 2-year development cycle. Whatever your opinion may be about subscription-based systems, the one thing that you got to realize is that you are already paying a subscription-based system. You are paying the money every 2 years. Every 2 years, they're releasing a new version. Every 2 years, you're upgrading. You are not just buying one thing, using that perpetually flat out for the rest of your life. You're going to use it for the next 2-3 years, and then you're going to upgrade. And it's not going to be a free upgrade. So whether you like it or not, whether you agree with me or not, you are already on a subscription-based system. The downside is that any bugs that you have now, any feature requests that you have now, you have to wait 2 years to see whether or not they implemented them. Whereas on a subscription-based system, you're paying a lot less money on a monthly basis. Even if you add it up on a 2-year development cycle, I mean, Flash itself costs about the equivalent of maybe $2.50 a month if you just take the software itself. All right, so $2. I don't even want to do the math. It's crazy, ridiculously low. Okay, just multiply, I guess, $2.50 times 24 months. That's how much you're paying every 2 years. I went to public school. I can't do math. So that's my take on this. I don't know what else to say about it. I think subscription models are a great thing. I think people need to just kind of, wake up to this. For companies, especially for companies like Reallusion, is the one thing that's going to motivate them to get off their ass and give us what we need and not have to wait 2 years for that may or may not happen, okay? If they have thousands of customers giving them $10 a month, that's a lot of money. And that's enough to motivate them to continuously put out good shit every month, fix their stuff, maybe put out even better plugins. So, as part of the same subscription, right now you have a product that it was bad enough just a couple years ago when we did have like x64 and x32 versions of the same software within the Windows platform. The X32 version could produce one thing, the X64 can produce another. If you wanted to be able to export as MP4, you had to use one version. If you wanted to be able to produce PNGs, you had to use the other version. It was really stupid that a software cannot do the same thing consistently within one version. And that's just within Windows. Then you go look at the Mac version of that, which is missing all this other shit that's not available on the Windows version. So a software needs to be the best version of the product that it can be in and of itself. Subscription models enable that. Companies make a lot more money because the recurring revenue from everybody, little bits here and there, add up to them. We don't have to pay as much, and we get these updates and patches, and we don't have to wait 2 years for the next biggest, greatest thing. I think we all win, man. I mean, I think you guys are just being very primitive about this if you're not on board with the subscription models. Now, I don't think Reallusion should switch to a subscription model. I think they might be a little too late in the game. I mean, I don't think it would be a bad idea, but I think they need to fix their shit first, or at least they need to do it, see who signs up, and based on that, start making your decisions, which I know it's gonna motivate them to fix their stuff faster. But Reallusion is also in a very special crossroad in the way that they do business, because the majority of their actual profits and stuff, they don't come from the software sales, which is kind of why they inflate their software sales. But their revenue comes from the sales and commissions of the content store sales and the marketplace sales. These are items that are developed by people like me who produce this stuff at no cost to them, but they immediately get anywhere from 40 to 60% commissions on any sales that they make. So they make a lot of money through content sales, and they are on a very special crossroads when it comes to the way that they do business. They are more like DAS 3D. And if anything that we've learned from DAS 3D is that you can be quite successful by simply giving the software away for free. Epic Games, the makers of Unreal Game Engine, extremely valuable software, regular updates. It's free. They make their sales through commissions of their content store stuff, their marketplace items. And, the royalties and sales from the gamers and stuff that, when something like that gets done on a professional basis, which I wouldn't mind doing if Reallusion came up with something like that also. But I think Reallusion is also in a very sweet spot where they could just decide tomorrow, say, hey, we're going to give away all these software, the Crazy Talk Animator, Cartoon Animator 4, the plugins, all that stuff. It's yours for free. You know what that would do for them? It would increase their user base exponentially to such an extent that the thirst for content alone would be enough to drive up their revenue. So they really don't need to be selling their software. The subscription-based thing is something that I'm definitely in favor for, but in all honesty, as a business, they could probably just give away their shit for free and actually make more money by just sitting back and watching how all this new user base starts creating content, and they're literally taking 40% off every sale that people like me make. So there you go.